What's going on, family? Fighter Share Nation. Hey, it's the Beatdown. You know how we get down every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 11 p.m. What's going on, Badger?
What's going on, bro? Not much. I am happy to be here, ready to get my nightly therapy session underway, and hopefully entertain some people in the process.
Listen, um, it's strange to say it was a busy weekend of sports, but they even had golf and auto racing on. So it was it was a busy weekend of sports.
I mean, yeah, golf and auto racing have always been on, so I think the
No,
fact that we have.
but for the past like 3 months they haven't though.
Oh, you mean because of the, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but listen, there's always been something to watch. There's nothing good, right? Like we could be watching Korean baseball. We could be watching cornhole competitions. I mean, they have these things on.
Wait a minute,
We
but
just choose not
even
to watch them.
even cornhole hasn't been on because it's social distancing.
Nah, ESPN had a cornhole contest on not too long ago, bro.
I would have watched that. If you had let me know, I would have watched that.
Oh, nobody let me know. And I was glad they didn't. I actually heard about it and saw a clip of it on social media.
Have you really watched those? They're pretty interesting.
No, no.
They're actually they have broken. They even have a telestrator on the cornhole competitions.
What's even better about cornhole is I mastered it in the third grade. It's called beanbag tossing.
Yes,
Yeah, I was pretty good
but
at it.
it just doesn't sound as eloquent. I guess when you say beanbag toss, because back then cornhole meant something totally different. I won't really get into that, but
What?
some people in well, your country, you should have known. I won't go into that. All right, now I can tell you what's interesting. Barry Hearn, if I got the name correctly, Eddie Hearn's dad,
His pops.
he turned dart throwing into an international spectacle in England. Um, 60 Minutes, they had 60-minute sports stories on, and they were showing how people would pack arenas like you would for boxing or hockey to see these guys throw darts. And they were playing for millions of dollars. I'm like, this man can promote anything. Anything. I was impressed. I was impressed.
Well, listen. When you have a culture, and I'm saying this loosely because there's a lot of cultures out there like this, but when you have a culture that likes to drink, they can be entertained by anything. Brits like to drink.
Yeah.
So when you drunk, a lot of stuff entertains you, like darts. Because most times you probably throwing them at somebody, or people have probably been impaled by darts at the bar. You don't tell me how many times it's gonna happen, right?
And they were allowed to drink during the competition.
Exactly. So there we go.
They have some guys that say during the 6 hour competition, they put away at least 6 pints. They don't usually win, but yeah. Hey, what's going on the TV behind you?
Oh, that's my boy T'Challa. That's the Black Panther right there,
Yes, yes.
who is also going to be the leader of the new Avengers. So yeah, man, that's my
But
guy.
hey, long as he brings his royal guard with him, I'm straight. Cause yeah,
Oh, the Dora Milaje, yeah, yeah, they go pretty hard. They go hard.
yes, yes, literally. Um, listen, we got some fights coming up tomorrow night. We talked about
Joshua Greer.
yes, Joshua Greer. I still haven't found the entire card, but hey, it's boxing, it's live. It's no fans. It's 7 o'clock on ESPN. It's got to be better than bad. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be good.
Well, like I said yesterday on the Fighter Share, that you can catch us on every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joshua Greer is exciting, man. I would
Yeah,
like to think that Bob Arum probably matched him well, or at least the matchmakers from Top Rank matched him well. I think Karma Reddy is their matchmaker. Um, Joshua Greer is he's a thunderous puncher in a very small body, so they want to showcase their guys. So if Plania, is that his name? Am I saying that correctly?
uh, I don't. I think it's Playa. Yeah, I think it's Plania.
Okay. If he's going to go in there and try to have a slugfest with Joshua Green, if he's stylistically a stationary fighter, a counter puncher. This is what Barbarian wants, man.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a good showcase for another guy that could potentially be, this kid may have some star appeal. If not anything, it'd be a good domestic draw. And that's all you can really ask for. You very rarely get superstars, but if you get guys that can put in, 8 to 10,000 people, you keep that guy around. And I think Joshua Greer coming, like I said the other day, from that fighting area of Chicago, I think that he may have a chance. And again, he's a big puncher in a small body, so people love knockouts, and that's what he does. I mean, he's made ESPN top 10 a couple of times, putting people to sleep. And he brings a pillow into the bed. I'm sorry. He brings a pillow into the ring with him. So, he ready to put you to sleep, ready for you to go to bed. So that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And we don't care if it's a slow fight or, literally, we don't care. We just want to see a fight.
Absolutely.
So, hey, it is what it is. Just go in there, hit somebody till they can't stand up no more. That's a pretty good assessment of.
And try not to get hit.
Try to get. Hey, and even if you do get hit, just be the last one standing.
I can see that.
It's not really, any science to it. We just want to see a fight.
And you wonder how fights went 30, 40, and 50 rounds back in the day.
My grandfather bought me a sports book. My mom may have bought it for me, a sports book, when I was a little kid. And my mom was reading about some of the legends of boxing and how they went, you're right, like 54 rounds, 60 rounds. I think the longest one was 124 rounds.
Something ridiculous like that.
And you're like, who?
Yeah, how did you come out of that alive? That's my question. Like, forget all this stuff. How did your body survive that kind of trauma?
And there's no way you were the same person, even if you won. Because they didn't care about equipment back then. They didn't, it was when people really, when they got tired of seeing people.
They were fighting bare knuckle, weren't they? Or just the tape wrist, which in some cases could even be worse when that stuff get wet with sweat and stuff. It feels like
exactly. And then when they moved into the leather, the leather gloves? They weren't padded. They were just leather gloves, right? And they had the little bar in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. It wasn't until they got tired of seeing people die that they put these rules in place. They were okay with someone not coming out of the ring. It was a tough group back then. They didn't care.
Real life Kumite.
Right. They didn't even wear cups. They just got in and a low blow meant get up, fool.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how that's a thing.
I wouldn't have been a boxer back then.
Nah. You're not a boxer now, so
even in college when I boxed, I would not have, it wouldn't have been.
You wouldn't have picked it up at all, huh?
Pretty much. Well, you know what though? I was a different kind of animal back then. I may have.
You're young, man. When you're young, you do all kind of stuff like that.
Stupid stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I told the story to one of my friends and they didn't believe me. But when they met my dad, they were like, oh, geez, he was telling the truth. When I was like 16, 17, I was I learned how to wrestle, like formally wrestle in high school. And I had really good throws. I mean, I had before I even knew about freestyle wrestling, I had really good throws. And my dad would bet grown men that they couldn't slam me. Like, I wouldn't know these bets were happening. Sometimes they would just come up and grab me and I would launch them. And first of all, they weren't sober. So a couple of them were sober, but they would just come up and grab me and I would throw a lateral on them or a belly to belly, or I just launch them. And I realized one day he's making money off of me.
Consider it back pay, bro.
For what? I was living with my grandparents.
Oh.
I'll come see him in the summer and I had to work. So
Pops wasn't playing, huh?
Pops wasn't playing. I'm telling you, that's the last man on earth that's the last man I ever feared. That was it. Once I lost my fear for him, I was like, ain't nobody do me worse than I've seen him do other people. So I'm good. I don't fear nobody. I love him. I respect him. He taught me a lot of good lessons that I never forgot.
There you go.
So, hey, before I get into this story, what you got?
Um, did you catch the Earl Spence post or article where he stated that he doesn't like the fact that so many people in America were cheering for Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder,
No, I
and
wish I did.
and that he was offended by it? Yeah, interesting. I didn't get a chance to pull up the article, but I saw it on social media. Yeah, Earl is speaking again. He is. They call him the truth for a reason, right?
Yeah,
He's speaking truth here. We've talked about it on this platform on several different occasions. This is a real thing, and like I said on maybe it was the beatdown last week, and I said that you can't believe that racism affects every facet of life in every sport and not feel like that it's not alive and well in boxing. A
right.
sport where the dream matchup is the big white guy against the big black guy. Because you can sell the race card, right? You can play into that, which is what we know happened with the Wilder Fury fight.
Listen, Tyson Fury was laughing in the face of every American after that last Wilder fight when he sang that song, and of course, the lighter color faction joined in when he was singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie." If you look at just the metaphors in that song, the day the music died, I have taken your title from your champion. Now, of course, they were cheering for him based on the color of his skin and the fact that the powers that be still look at Great Britain as the motherland. Um, if you don't believe me, look at how they've honored the Mayflower crew, who were criminals when they came over. But, look how they continue to honor them in high society. I'll move on from that. But if you look at, like you said, you look at how the media really, even the media over here was boosting Fury up. When he won the fight and he sang that song, I was done. I was done because he's laughing in your faces and you're joining in. You're joining in. The only better thing that could have happened was if they fought on the 4th of July or Thanksgiving. Really, the 4th of July. That would have just been icing on the cake. Sorry, bro.
No, I appreciate what you're saying. I'm just trying to make sure I'm computing all of it. I'm not real familiar with the lyrics of that song, other than just the chorus, which I would probably butcher as well. Uh, Tyson Fury was the favorite of most people that were in that arena. And if
Mm-hmm.
you want to tell me that you're, because we've already broken this down several times, right? So whether you're a hardcore boxing fan or a casual fan, we want to see knockouts. Tyson Fury doesn't knock people out. Well, he knocked Wilder out, but prior to that, he wasn't known for knocking people out. Wilder was a more dynamic, the more exciting fighter. And we've heard this time and time again when they allude to why they don't like Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he's a runner. That's boxing skill. He's not running. The ring is 20 by 20, 22 by 22, whatever the dimensions are. Your job is to catch him.
Thank you.
That's why you train. That's why you work out. We saw it with Roy Jones Jr. Never quite really ascended to stardom. I don't know how much of that would have been Roy's fault. This was pre-social media. This is, right when the internet was really bubbling at its height. We saw with Andre Ward. He is the guy that most people would like to identify with. He's of mixed race. He identifies as black, but he's of mixed race. Good Christian guy. Midwestern values, so to speak.
He can
Fought
fight.
for this country, and he can fight. And you saw more people probably rooting against him versus Kovalev than you saw people rooting for him. Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And they will continue to move the goalposts and say, well, I don't like Mayweather because he beats women. I don't like Andre Ward because his style is boring. I don't like Deontay Wilder because
He's one dimensional.
he can't really fight, or he said he wanted to catch a body. There's no place in the sport for that. Is
They
that
didn't
not
like.
the same? Is that not the same thing as what we're seeing in the news every day on social media when we see black men be shot and killed for all types of infractions, none of which are a death sentence. And then we turn around and see the video like what we saw in Tulsa, what, 3 days ago, where the white man is not compliant at all.
When he chased the cop,
Never respected the officer in any fashion. The officer hit him with the taser. The taser didn't work. He pulls the taser out and starts chasing the cop. The cop's running from him, literally running from him. Then the dude gets back in his car,
he
does
gets in
a
the cop's
donut.
car.
No, he gets back in his car, does a donut, and then turn around and rams the cop car. Gets out of the car, and then at that point, the video ends because you hear that helicopter coming, and then you hear the other sirens getting closer. But apparently, there's a black man that's recording this video, or a black couple, and you hear him say, if he would have been black, he would have been dead. Like
Mm-hmm.
from the initial stop when he got out of the car and wouldn't lay down.
But he laid down and got up.
Yeah, maybe he would never even made it out of the car.
Well, he lay. That's the funny thing. He laid down
And he got up.
and he got up,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind. He did get in the cop car for a minute.
Yeah.
Then he got out of the cop car, got in his car. It was crazy.
I don't remember seeing him get in the cop car. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I didn't see that part. But yeah, but my point is, you make exceptions for what you want to make exceptions for,
Mm-hmm.
and you wholeheartedly believe what you believe. I've been reading, and I've been a black man my whole life. And I know that we are always perceived differently.
Right.
Always. No matter if we come meek, no matter if we come timid, no matter if we come proud, no matter if we come strong, no matter if we come scary, it doesn't matter. We're treated the same, and we're always a threat. Always a threat. And if you can't understand that, it's not even worth debating anymore.
No.
Right? So when they killed the what was the young man's name in Atlanta? Again, we don't know because there's so many of them. What's his name? Rashad?
Yeah. I was looking for that.
Please forgive me for messing your name up, brother, or if anybody's watching this. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but these things happen so much that I can't keep up with all the names. So you mean to tell me because he pulled the officer's taser and shot the taser officer, he deserved to die for that? Let's go back to the whole thing. He died because he was put in a position where he didn't feel safe and he fled. When, truth be told, man, he could have just been arrested and cuffed. He was drunk. We knew he was drunk when he got in the car. When he started talking, we knew he was drunk. Why are you taking him through a 10-minute sobriety test? It don't take all that. You know he's inebriated. Just cuff him and sit him down. Or take him to jail. All the extra stuff, to me, I feel it looked as almost like they were looking for an end. They were looking for a way to antagonize the situation more. And in the span of 40 seconds, this man died. This man was compliant. You could tell he was a good guy. He was just drunk. And I know that's not what we're talking about. I'm getting off track, but it's weird how they want to say that racism or race is not a factor in sports when race is a factor in everyday society. When did sports become different? So, I mean, I'm kind of put out by that, man. But yeah, Earl Spence is, I'm beginning to like Earl Spence a lot more, man. I know you said earlier that you didn't really care. You didn't like how he was speaking,
But I like that.
But he's speaking his truth.
Yeah,
he never comes across as scripted or not genuine. I mean, he seems to be a pretty stand-up guy, and for him to say that says a lot about him.
Listen, did you hear about a black teen and a black child found hanged in Georgia around Atlanta? Was it last week? 2 separate incidents. And it was supposed to be a march, and they called the march off.
No, I don't remember hearing about that at all. But I do remember seeing something here within the last day or two. A young man was found somewhere in California.
Yeah.
Hung from a tree.
And they said he hung himself.
Yeah, he said he hung himself, and it was someone else too. that they also found they said hung themselves.
Yeah. So we're back to the old days where they would come in the house, grab somebody out in the middle of the night, they wake up in the morning and they say they hung themselves, and their hands were tied behind their back, and they were also burnt, but they hung themselves, and that's how they were reported in the paper, and people were fine with that. So I don't think you're going to get the same reaction this time. I think at some point they're going to tell you like Muhammad Ali's managers told the boxing promoters back in the day. If one of mine gets hurt, one of yours goes to the morgue. Eventually, that's what's coming. And I know the powers that be really want that to happen because nothing they enjoy more is seeing us kill ourselves. I mean, the poor people over a black and white issue. But as long as you're going to buy into it, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. Until we open our eyes and see what's really going on, there will be no change.
Well, I have some interesting thoughts about that, but I do feel like there's too much energy out there, and this has to go somewhere. So the
Mm-hmm.
sad part is we don't know what's coming next. We know something's coming next, we just don't know what it is. So I'm I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm with you on that. You know something's coming. I was trying to find that article, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Um, so I'm really hyped about these UFC cards coming up, man. I keep listening. I keep thinking about Usman and Burns, bro.
Yes,
I can't wait for that fight, man. And the Alexander Volkov and the Max Holloway fight. That's
yes.
bro, man.
I,
Listen,
I like Bless Max Holloway.
yeah, but your boy put them things on him, man.
No, I just said I like Max, but
Yeah, I like Max too, but that dude beat Max fair and square. And Max is saying that
yeah,
for whatever it's worth, he he's respectfully not giving his opponent the credit he deserves. At least that's what I've saw in the last couple of statements that he's put out. He's like, well, I didn't fight my fight, this and that. And I'm
that's
like,
your fault.
bro, yeah, you had a whole camp to get ready for this dude.
Right.
This dude came out and put the beats on you. And listen, he was out striking Max Holloway, I think. I want to look that up because I could be wrong if somebody out there in the Fighter Share Nation can pull that up. But I think he was out striking Max Holloway,
That bothers
who
me.
who has made a living off of being a tree in that division. When I mean tree, I mean his height.
Yeah,
You know, so I don't know, man.
that bothers me more than almost anything when I hear a fighter make a weak excuse.
He's supposed to though. He's
Listen,
supposed to.
listen. You got whipped. Come back and whip him. Don't stand up there and say I just didn't really fight my fight or I didn't. That's your fault. That's nothing I need to know. If
Yeah,
you had an injury, you shouldn't have gotten in the ring. But I on the octagon. But I understand you got to fight. You got to eat. All right, but you lost. You lost. What are you standing up here telling me? I didn't fight my fight. So what? I'm sorry, bro. It just that bothers me. It bothers me in boxing. It bothers me in football. It bothers me in any sport where you have equal time to prepare as somebody else, and you walk out there and you lose, and you say I didn't fight my fight. I didn't. That's your fault.
yeah. But what you have to understand, bro, is that for one, all I have is my pride, bro, and my belief that I'm the best in the world. So until my days are done, I can't admit that you are just better than me.
Okay.
And on the business aspect, I have to give them a reason to want to watch his rematch. So I have to say, man, I wasn't in my right frame. I wasn't the fighter I am now, or I've made adjustments. I have to sell the public because the fight was kind of one sided. So I gotta make them believe that, hey, I'm gonna show up bigger and better this time. So I get it, man. I get
Yeah.
it from both ends, but I'm okay with Max Holloway saying this. I'm okay with it.
But your fans are going to watch you regardless. People who pull for you are going to, because it's not like he goes out and lays an egg every time.
That's not what we're talking about. I have to sell the fight still, bro.
Listen, how many more people are going to watch because you say you weren't yourself?
I don't know.
It'd be
But
better
I
if you
but
said
I
I had some bad chicken.
But I know
I
ain't no.
mean,
But I know ain't no less gonna watch it by me saying that.
to me, it's a cop out, and I get what
It's
you're
it's
trying to say,
it's
but
not a cop out. You know why it's not a cop out? Because it's
why?
gonna get settled in the octagon. And right now, no
Either
matter
way,
what you say, he already beat you once.
right. So either way, if you would shut your mouth and said, you know what, I want a rematch, I'll do better next time, or da da da, whatever. But don't make an excuse for your loss. You lost. You got whipped.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
All right.
I'm okay with it.
I
We'll
can't wait
we'll
for that Burns Usman fight. So I'm
we'll hear about it at Max Holloway's retirement,
probably
and
after
then
this next fight.
he'll tell us that this guy was just better. Or Holloway comes back and win. Now it's like, okay, gotta have a rubber match. Gotta do it again. Best 2 out of 3.
I'm I'm really hyped about that Usman Burns fight though.
You
I
should
really am.
be.
I really am.
The world should be, man. Listen, man. This is gonna be a hell of a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really more hyped about this than the Khabib against whoever fight.
Well, duh, bro. I mean, I would think that you should be. This is a dope fight, man. This has all the elements,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, you've been
Man,
training with this dude
for a couple of
a
years.
couple of years. This is probably not the fight if I'm Usman that I want.
Listen, you celebrated with me when I won the belt and came back to the
Right.
gym, right?
Right.
The whole time you watching me envious as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, and
As he
Burns,
should be.
right. In Burns' defense, Burns knew in his heart he was gonna beat Woodley. So he said when I beat Woodley, I'd like a shot at come on, Usman. And everybody's like, when you beat Woodley, and look what happened. So I know Usman is probably training harder than he has trained. Because when somebody, and this is what coming out of the district that I came out of wrestling in high school, every heavyweight was in the same grade. So we saw each other at least twice. All three of us saw each other at least twice a year, every year. And it helped me moving forward because we sometimes go to the other person's schools and practice together. So you got to know somebody in and out. They knew my favorite moves. I knew their moves. And it just came down to whose will is stronger, who is willing to work harder, who is better at making you succumb to my will. Either I'm going to work my moves. I didn't try to do anything different. I was given some really good advice by a state ranked wrestler when I was in 10th grade. He said, when you wrestle people over and over again, they know what you're going to do. Just keep doing it better and better until they can stop it. Always have something in your tool bag, but don't stop being you because this person's familiar with you. Make them understand that each time they step on the mat, or as we're talking about in the octagon, you've got to bring your A game because I'm going to bring mine. Now, it sounds like a foregone conclusion at this level, but not always. Burns may say, I'm so familiar with him. I just got, if I train like this, I can beat him. I know where his strengths are. I know where his weaknesses are. I can beat him. But when you step in that octagon with him, and it's not practice, and as proud as he is as a champion, I still think Usman's going to have the advantage. As long as his head's on straight, I think he would have the advantage. If he works what he does to the best of his ability, I believe it's going to be a great fight, but I still give Usman a slight advantage. When I saw him beat Kobe Covington at Kobe's game, he ain't try to take him down once, I don't think. And that's how everybody was saying, in order for him to beat Kobe, he's going to have to take him down and out wrestle him and wear him out. He stood up and traded with him. And so Kobe couldn't trade anymore. So that's my opinion. I think Usman still has the advantage. I think it's gonna be a great fight, but as long as he comes to fight, he has the advantage.
The interesting part about everything that you just said is we've seen these great matchups, right, where guys have familiarity with each other, right, and they end up being duds because they know each other so well. Here's the thing, though. I think Kamaru is going to turn this into a striking match. I don't think because think about it like this: if I feel like we're even remotely close in one area of my game, then I'm going to take it to an area of my game where I feel like I'm better than you. Is Kamar Usman a better grappler or a better wrestler than Colby Covington? Yes. But guess what? Colby Covington is an elite wrestler. So
No,
why am I
no.
going to take the chance?
You mean Gilbert Burns?
No, no, no. I'm talking about Usman and Covington. I know what I'm saying. So why am I going to take the chance of wrestling Colby Covington when I know how good he is? He may not be better than me, but he's probably better than just about everybody I've been practicing with. So why am I going to take that chance when I know if I just stand up with him, I can make it easier on myself? I think we're going to see the same thing with Gilbert Burns. I think he knows how great Burns is, especially jiu-jitsu. He's good wrestler. He's a good wrestler too, but his jiu-jitsu is world class.
Right.
I can see Kamaru saying, you know what? Nah, I don't want to make this hard. Let's see what these hands do. And I can see this looking like the Colby Covington fight where these guys is going to scrap it out. That was a great fight. Colby stood there as long as he could. You got to give Colby credit. He fought till he couldn't fight anymore. You got to give him credit for that. He got his ass beat, but he fought until he couldn't fight anymore. I see this fight being the same way. I don't know who's going to come out on top.
How many guys do you see just lay down? They all fight till they can't fight no more.
That is absolutely not true, bro. People quit on the stool all the time.
In MMA?
People turn their backs all the time. Bro, I've seen MMA fighters quit.
At that level?
Yes. Bro, did you just see what happened to old Felicia Spencer last week? Did she not quit?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's not get amnesia. So I think Kamaru and Burns is going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a striking fest. Burns, is he a better striker than Colby Covington? I don't know. Is he stronger than Covington? Yeah. Is he quicker than Covington? Yeah. So I don't know, man. Look.
It's going to be a good fight.
Boy.
You know, when you brought it up, I dated a girl named Amnesia once. I can't remember nothing about that relationship, but she was all right.
That was the opening that you saw?
It's gonna be a great fight. It's whether you got fans or not. I think I'd like to see that without fans.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, because I want to get fully immersed in that, right? I want to see everything.
Yeah. I may even put headphones on.
Yeah. Today is Happy Puerto Rican Day.
What?
Yeah, today's Puerto Rican Day, right?
I guess.
I don't know. Shout out my Puerto Ricans out there, man.
Yeah. ¿Qué pasa?
You gotta relax, bro.
What?
Listen, so getting off the UFC train for a quick second, what do you feel or how do you feel about the 30 for 30 long summer that aired on Sunday night? Did you catch any of it?
Yes.
So talk to me.
Even before I saw it, I've always felt like one of the Bash brothers, Mark McGuire, was a cheat. They made him into this great American hero, and he was cheating the whole time. Sammy Sosa. I mean, at the time, I thought he was legit. They already asked McGuire, had you ever taken steroids? He said, yeah, when I had a back problem. Okay, but they never asked during the season when he was hitting all those home runs, are you still taking steroids? Now you remember he played in Oakland with Jose Canseco, right?
In Oakland, correct?
Right. When they were the Bash Brothers, just knocking them out the park. Do you remember before McGuire went on that tear, Jose Canseco was in Boston, if I'm not mistaken, before he had to give up the game. He was hitting home runs at a torrid pace. And the whole time they kept saying, he's on steroids. He's on steroids. And Jose said, you keep messing with me, I'm going to let you know who else is on steroids. Well, there you go. I thought this 30 for 30 was okay. It didn't hold my interest because even during that summer, if you listen to certain athletes, they were talking about McGuire being a steroid baby. So the media didn't jump on it. The media didn't really do its due diligence because it was the great American story. You know, he met with the Maris family after he broke Roger Maris' record, and bro, what did you think of it? It was okay. It didn't hold my interest the whole time because I remember going through it.
Well, me too. I think I was in freshman in high school, or maybe in the eighth grade. I'm telling my age right now. I was an Albert Bell fan, believe it or not, and he was right in that fray as well. He had been knocking him out for the Indians for quite some time, and he got traded to the White Sox. I think he had a 50 home run season that year too. It was a lot of stuff going on in baseball. Ken Griffey Jr. was the only one that made it out of that clean, and we all know he had the sweetest swing ever.
Ooh, yes.
Somebody made a point. I'm going to get back to McGuire and Sosa. Someone made a point that I've been advocating for ever since I started having conversations about baseball. Even if you take away the years that Barry Bonds has been accused of doing steroids, I think he still has 500 and 500, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes him the best baseball player ever. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if we take away the years that are in question about his steroid abuse, he's still the best baseball player ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
my second point,
of the modern era. Go ahead.
I mean, he was defensive. He was okay, but whatever. People forget how much of a 5 tool player he was with the Pirates.
I don't
People
forget.
forget that. Okay. Um,
When I say of the modern era, I'm
I
saying because a lot of the Negro League players were,
right. I got
yeah.
you. So I look at America as we like to be duped, right? We like to believe we know it's bullshit and we buy it anyway because
Yeah.
it's entertaining. We just want to be entertained, right? Mark McGuire is a bigger fraud as Lance Armstrong, and you would never hear it.
Right.
I mean, you talk about this summer of '98. Look at Sammy Sosa. The man is a shell of himself. This is not anything to be celebrated. These were the history doesn't look too kindly upon these two guys. Not only because they were frauds, but just in the sense that in a sport that's supposed to be held at such a high that holds itself in high regard and supposed to be this pure sport, you guys made it the worst. You made it the worst. And baseball hasn't recovered because guess what? We haven't had a summer like that since. And every time somebody bashes a ball over the fence and they hit 40 or 50 in a year, the first thing we say is they juicing. Why? Because of these two assholes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like it. And ESPN's 0 for 2. Ever since the Last Dance, they've been swinging and missing. I was disappointed in the Bruce Lee documentary. Be Water. I was disappointed in that.
It was watered down.
And you know, like I said, I didn't really care for this one. I brought it up because it was, sports relevant.
Maybe. Just again, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. They did have a big hand in ruining the image of baseball. But baseball takes care of that for itself. If you look at now, why they're not playing now. I mean,
But let me ask you this question, bro. Think about this.
Mhm.
Why don't people hate Mark McGuire as much as they hate Barry Bonds?
You really asking me that question?
When you mention Barry Bonds' names,
They get venom.
people's faces ball up. when you mention Mark McGuire's name, it's almost like, oh, McGuire, yeah, I remember him. It's kind of like, why is that?
Mark McGuire, they knew he was juicing. When he broke Babe Ruth's record, it was okay because they said, well, we'll just put an asterisk there. When Barry Bonds did it, Barry Bonds told you he was going to do it. Barry Bonds said, I know you don't like me and I don't care. Barry Bonds didn't let the color of his skin tame him from his attitude. If you remember when Pittsburgh, when he was there with Bobby Bonilla, my goodness, all right, Bobby Bonilla. I remember an interview and Barry Bonds said, you just don't like me because I'm good. And that was the attitude he carried all the way through. So he always threw it in their face, even when he was clean. You have nobody as good as me on your team or on this one. So it was Muhammad Ali, but in the 80s and 90s. I'm better than anybody you can put up against me. I'm a better defensive player. I'm a better hitter. I'm a better base runner. I'm the best. And
I'm a complete guy. I'm complete.
Right. And they could not argue with that. Pittsburgh should have won the World Series when they had Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds. That was, what's his name? Jim. Oh, man. He ended up winning the World Series, I think, with the Marlins.
Oh, Leland.
Jim Leland. That was his fault. You have a team like that, and you can't win. Those two players alone are going to account for usually enough runs for you to win. And you can't win the series, and the rest of your team was stacked as well.
Yeah, they had a solid team.
But it's one thing to have a solid team, a championship team, but then when you put Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla on the same team, I used to play the MLB game on Sega Genesis. It was ugly. It was ugly. And look, and Bobby Bonilla showed you how good he was when he went to Baltimore after he left Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Baltimore just had a horrible team. But, you know.
Just him and Cal Ripken.
Yeah. I mean, and Mike Messina, but.
Mike Messina was a good pitcher, man.
Oh, my goodness. He was a run. He was a workhorse.
Yeah, Mike had a
good
run.
I still remember when Cito Gaston was managing.
Gaston for the Blue Jays, right?
Yes. 2-time champion.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he was managing the All-Star game and it was in Baltimore. And he refused to put Messina in the game. He had him warm up in the bullpen and the crowd was cheering. And Gaston kept letting him warm up, but he would never put him in the game.
Why not? And that was when they first opened the new Camden Yards, right?
Exactly, because there was a rivalry between Toronto and Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, AL East. Okay,
right. And remember, you didn't have a wild card game then, so it was a rivalry.
Cito being petty, I get you.
Yeah, I couldn't stand that man. I spit at the TV because I couldn't stand that man. I had to wipe it off though.
That's awful.
That's just not something we usually do.
Bro, Maurice Hooker and Regis Prograis, the fight is off.
What happened?
It sounds like they couldn't come to terms on the weight. I think their fight was initially tabbed at 143, and Regis said he'd go up to 145, and Hooker was like, nah. And it's crazy because, bro, like, this is your opportunity. I don't know what listen, Maurice Hooker's an interesting guy. He has potential to be a solid fighter. He is a solid fighter. He's a former champion. I don't understand the moves he makes sometimes. This would have been his biggest fight to date. Both you guys are coming off a loss. He's giving you an opportunity at the weight. Because of COVID or whatever, he's saying he fights you at 44. You don't want to do that? This is strange, man. And this is a bad look for Hooker. Hooker needed to fight more than Prograis. Regis is going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That was a strange one. I just wanted to bring it up to you. I saw that earlier. It was like,
wow.
Oh. I was looking forward to that fight.
Yeah.
Just because I thought I was thinking that Hooker's range and his height would give Regis problems, kind of similar to what Josh Taylor did to him. But we'll never get to see it now, man. So I guess Regis got to go find somebody else.
Maybe Taylor just didn't want that smoke.
Maybe Taylor. You mean
Hooker.
Hooker didn't want to smoke?
Sorry.
Oh,
Maybe Hooker didn't want that smoke.
but that's crazy because you know who he trains with, right? Hooker trains with Bud. That's
Oh.
what I'm saying. Like they don't even make so it's Hooker, Steven Nelson, Bud, Jamel Herring, and I want to say one or two other more guys. But that's the stable. That's the squad.
That's a serious squad.
Yeah, and them boys, all them boys, stone cold killers over there, and you
Yeah.
don't want to fight because of what? I don't know, man.
Wow.
And we know Hooker needs the money. He got like what 7 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's interesting, bro. It's interesting.
He gonna probably have to fight at home now.
I know, right?
That's bad. She like, you didn't, were you what?
That was a decent payday, man. I don't know. I want to read more into it when we come back to the Beatdown tomorrow at 11 p.m. the same time every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Then hopefully I can get more information on it. But that's just what I saw earlier. So I figured I thought it out there because you know we both like Regis. So
Yeah. I missed PBC Live today. Ray Florio or Flores.
oh okay, who they have on?
Didn't I missed it.
No, but I thought you would have knew who they had on.
No. I usually just tune in at 3 p.m.
Oh no, I normally get the alerts or I get the information like you know for the week, and then every day you know because I follow them on social media, so I tell you who they on with. But okay, no, I missed it too.
I missed it. I was looking for that, and I was doing something else and messed around, and I was like, but I had a meeting at 4, so by the time I realized that it was too late for me to go back anyway because they were done.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you ready for my story? You're never ready for my story.
Exactly. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Have you ever heard about Zappy?
No, Brashawn, I've never heard about Zappy.
Well, Zappy knew everybody. So Zappy was at home eating breakfast, and Zappy asked his mom, said, "Mom, do you know what Ooga Booga Land is?" And Zappy's mom said, "No, Zappy. Send him to school." Zappy's teacher asked Zappy, "Hey, Zappy," because Zappy knew everybody, "do you know where Ooga Booga Land is?" Zappy said, "No." Teacher said, "Well, I'm going to have to send you to the principal's office till you find out." So Zappy's sitting in the principal's office. And the principal says, "Hey, Zappy, what are you doing here?" Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, "Well, my teacher asked me if I knew where Ooga Booga Land was. I didn't know, so she sent me here." Principal says, "Well, do you know where it is now?" He says, "No." He said, "Well, I'm going to have to suspend you and send you home until you learn where Ooga Booga Land is." So Zappy walks back in his house, and his mom's like, "Hey, Zappy, what are you doing home?" Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, "Well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I didn't know, so she sent me to the principal who suspended me and sent me home to you." She says, "Do you know where it is now?" He says, "No." She says, "Well, I'm going to have to kick you out of the house until you find out." So Zappy's living on the street and runs into a police officer who recognizes him and says, "Hey, Zappy, what are you doing living on the street?" He says, "Well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I didn't know. She sent me to the principal who suspended me, and my mom kicked me out of the house." Officer says, "Do you know where it is now?" Zappy says, "No." He says, "Well, I'm going to have to take you to jail till you find out." So Zappy's sitting in jail, and the jailer comes up and says, "Hey, Zappy, what are you doing here?" Zappy says, "Well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me, and my mom kicked me out, and the policeman took me to jail." So the jailer says, "Do you know where it is now?" Zappy says, "No." He says, "Well, you're going to have to go to court until you find out." So Zappy's standing in front of the bench, and the judge says, "Zappy, what are you doing here?" Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, "My teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out of the house. The jailer took me to jail, and the policeman took me to jail, and the jailer sent me to you." The judge says, "Do you know where it is now?" He says, "No." He says, "Well, you're going to have to go before the Supreme Court until you find out." See, they take Zappy to the Supreme Court, and he's standing there, and the judge comes out and says, "Zappy, what are you doing in my courtroom?" Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out. The policeman took me to jail. The jailer sent me to the local judge who sent me to you. Supreme Court Justice says, do you know where it is now? He says, no. So, well, you're going to have to go see the president till you find out. So Zappy walks up on the White House lawn, rings the doorbell. Trump comes to the door in his underoos and says, hey, Zappy, what are you doing here? Zappy said, well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out. The policeman found me and took me to jail. The jailer sent me to the local court who sent me to the Supreme Court who sent me to you. He says, do you know where it is now? He says, no. He said, well, I'm going to have to kick you out of the country till you find out. So Zappy's floating on a raft and a pirate finds him and says, Zappy, what are you doing out on the ocean? Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy says, well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out of the house. The policeman took me to jail. The jailer sent me to a local court who sent me to the Supreme Court who sent me to the president who kicked me out of the country. Says, do you know where it is now? Says, no. Says, well, you have to come with us. The pirate picked Zappy up, dropped him off in the desert. An Arab family found Zappy and says, what are you doing in the desert? Because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said, no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out of the house. Policeman picked me up, took me to jail. The jailer sent me to a local court who sent me to the Supreme Court who sent me to the president. The president kicked me out of the country. Pirate found me and dropped me off here. They said, well, come with us. They drop him off in Germany. German lady walks up to him and says, Zappy, what are you doing here on the street? Zappy says, because Zappy knew everybody. Zappy said, well, my teacher asked me if I knew what Ooga Booga Land was. I said no. She sent me to the principal who suspended me. My mom kicked me out of the house. Policeman took me to jail. Jailer sent me to the local court. Local court sent me to the Supreme Court who sent me to the president who kicked me out of the country. Pirate found me in the ocean, sent me to the desert. An Arab family found me in the desert who sent me here to Germany. She says, do you know where it is now? He says, no. She said, well, you need to go across the street to the embassy till you find out. So Zappy walks across the street, gets hit by a car, and dies. You know what the moral of the story is? Look both ways before you cross the street. what's, what's the problem, bro?
Yeah, well, that was story time with Boo.
Listen, I told that on stage at Side Splitters one night. I don't cuss on stage. I don't. So after I gave the moral of the story, this black man stood up and said, you, and the person that told you that joke.
I mean, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him. Because of the nature of our friendship, I would not say those words to you. But I definitely understand his frustration. I get it. I get it.
He said, I had my wife over here writing down stuff so we can keep up with you. I actually felt hatred coming from him. So that's one of the few nights I left the club early.
I bet. Interesting. I mean, and this is why I don't get emotionally invested in your jokes. This is why.
Really, bro? Really?
Yep, that's it. It's a good reason. But hey, there's an upside, right? There's always tomorrow.
And I got another one. Get excited, bro. Get excited. Don't hate. Congratulate. You really didn't like that?
Yeah, bro. It was
Listen,
a quality joke.
I gave it to you for one reason. When your daughter starts to really get on your nerves, tell her that joke. You'll get her back.
I can
She
remember the
might not
damn
even
joke.
sit and listen to the whole
If
thing.
I if I can if I can remember the whole damn joke, shit.
I'd write it down for you, but my hand would start hurt.
Shit, Zappa should have died after he went home. Because he took them 5 minutes of our life, we can never get those back.
Oh, that's cold, bro. That really is cold. You know how to really dig deep and hurt somebody. But that's okay. I got another one for you tomorrow.
Jeez, we'll be ready.
Hey, and everybody, I'll start the show off with it tomorrow.
You have to. The whole point is to keep people on the show, not to kick them off the show.
Anyways, shout out to my wife, my daughter. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to all the fans and friends that we've met on this Fighter Share Nation. Shout out to you too, bro, for hanging in there and being a trooper.
Well, I mean, this is a journey that we're on together. So, with that being said, we in this to win it. So, I'm always here. Sometimes begrudgingly, but I'm always here.
Oh my goodness.
Only when it comes to your jokes. Other than that, I think we're good.
I'm going on strike. A week of no jokes. I'll let you know when that strike begins.
Yeah, we gotta make sure the viewership doesn't spike too much.
And then here he comes with the digs afterwards. But that's all right. Hey, I did see somebody that looked like you on TV the other day, and I meant to tell you. The look you have now, you look like TC from Magnum PI when he's flying the helicopter.
Bro, nobody that's watching us remembers those 80 shows, bro.
They're on TV now. That's why I saw it. I don't remember it from. I wasn't a Magnum PI fan.
Me neither. It was a little bit before my time, but it was still on when I came up, and I never really got into it either. I'm more of an A-team guy myself.
Well, I can understand that. If they ever see you without your hat and glasses, it makes perfect sense. Go ahead and say I pity the fool.
I can see that.
Not me.
No, just give me the gold chains. No.
I think my wife may have hit it.
Good.
I think my wife may have hit it.
Good.
No. I can't find my turnover chain.
Good.
You lucky.
Yeah.
You lucky.
And so all the viewers turn that shit over. Jeez Louise.
Really? That's how you gonna do me, bro?
Just saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't put it. No.
Got brew? Got brew. That's because I told a winning joke. Put it on.
Whatever works, bro. Whatever works.
You know that's tight. Bump that. You know that's tight. That's swag tag.
You're only supposed to hold it up when you win something, bro.
When I what?
When you win something.
I did. The favor of the fans with my joke. You gonna close us out?
Friday Share Nation. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all catch us every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Friday Share Report every Wednesday and Sunday. For my co-host who has lost his mind, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Friday Share Nation. We'll holler at y'all. Peace.